sunshine and gladness be given. And may the dear Savior prepare you on earth for a beautiful birthday in heaven.
Happy day!
Hey Steve, happy 40th birthday. If you're working today, just remember, put on the blinders. I see nothing, I see nothing. Just pretend the world is safe and everybody is a good person.
Hi Steve, Casey here in Florida. Happy 40th birthday.
Happy birthday, Steve. Thank you so much for being a partner to my best friend in crime.
Happy birthday, Steve. Just reminding you to always laugh, smile, be carefree, and enjoy life. And know that you still have 3,650 days till you turn 50.
Happy birthday. And I'm pretty pissed off that you're 40 because that means we're old. And we started...
You're having a 40th birthday this year. And I would say that you're old, but I'm older than you are. So I guess that doesn't work too well.
First, happy birthday, Steve. Probably great to be only 40. That must be really nice. I think I remember when I was 40, a long time ago.
I just wanted to tell you a few things. I remember that time that when you were born. You were born late in the afternoon, and I was having some problems, so they took you away right away, and your dad followed you into the nursery, which was really sad for me because I couldn't hold you. And then your dad would bring you into me, and I got to hold you, and I had to stay in a really dark room, and no one could visit me except your dad and you for quite a while, for about 3 or 4 days. But and you were a long, skinny little boy with hair that stuck straight up, and you had let's see, what else can I tell you about you? And I loved you from the moment I met you. And I loved you while you're in my tummy growing. And all I prayed about then was that you'd be healthy and happy when you were born. You were a good baby. You never cried much. And when Brian came along, you were always worried about him. You were worried that if he was crying, you'd come tell me, and you'd tell me everything he was doing.
Steve Sanders.
Hey, Steve.
What up, Big Steve?
Hi, Steve.
Hey, Steve. Happy 40th birthday.
I imagine that the first thing you probably thought of when you saw me pop up was, oh crap, what is he going to say? It's probably a good feeling. Let's hold on to that.
And I am thankful for my dad. He says things through in a nice way, in a polite way. Dad helps me in hard times. I'm thankful for that, and he always forgives me.
The first time we set up Fortnite, obviously.
I wanted to tell you what good memories I have of you and how much I appreciate your support and welcoming me into the family. You are such a good person and a great father and a good husband, and I haven't always been the best person, but you've always been there to support me, and that means a lot. As I get older in life and learn more, you have set an example for me. I never referred to it, but you're a great stepson, and I appreciate so much how you support your mother and how much you supported her over the years. That shows great character.
You know, a funny story is early on when we first moved in this neighborhood and we had first met, probably our second or third meeting, you walked past your house and your garage door was open, and I went in there with you, and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's got more DeWalt tools than a Lowe's. And that's exactly what I thought. And I don't think I've ever seen a DeWalt collection as strong as that one. I was pretty impressed by that.
we were at Balboa Beach one time, and the shore break was just killing all of us. I think it was you and Brian and me and Kirk, and we were just getting pounded by the surf. And we stopped for lunch, and we were eating lunch, and I just remember your hands were shaking so much, and you were trying to hold a cup of juice, and you just almost shook the juice right out of the cup. And I remember we kind of laughed at that, and you seemed like every time we went to the beach, your hands would just shake. And I remember when I heard you were going to be a police officer, I thought that might be a problem. You're trying to hold a gun and your hands are shaking, but I don't think that's a problem for you.
Steve and I went to the academy together back in January of 2005. We were good friends and worked together. We were partners for a long time, working in Boulder. There's still several stories about Steve floating around, seeing somebody who had a sandwich with them, and after his arrest was over, there was a trail of breadcrumbs going down Steve's shirt. So yes, Steve ate the sandwich.
You were pretty eager guy.
But in all seriousness, you're a hard charger. You're definitely not a slouch, man. We appreciate all the hard work and effort that you put into your cases up there.
All the times you've helped me move without any sort of complaints.
Can I have the one for the warrant and then a second one, please?
Okay, for first,
hold on.
PR is going to be 4456.
They never stop, huh?
That's going to be your
it just absolutely volunteered to do so. A hard time in my life, and you were there to help me, and I can't thank you enough for that. You're a great friend and a great partner, and I tease out of respect. Your instincts are incredible, and I always enjoyed working with you. I enjoyed working with you in investigation.
And what I remember most is this one time you were with Keith Steinman, and you had to go to the bathroom.
One of which has to do with him dropping his keys in the toilet, flushing them down, which of course...
One time he called me and he said, "Beth, you need to help me." And I said, "Help you with what?" And he said, "I'm so screwed. I'm in so much trouble. I don't even know what to do about it." And I was like, "But what's wrong? What's the problem?"
And you were in training.
In training, and he was driving with a cop, professional trainer, and he was still on probation, and they had gone to a restaurant to eat, and he said, "I lost the key to the car." And I said, "Great, so look for the key to the car, it's fine." And he said, "No, you don't understand. I was in the restroom, and I flushed the toilet, and right as I flushed the toilet, I went like this, and it went off my belt loop, and the one key to the cop car, yep, it went down the toilet."
And you dropped the keys to the brand new SUV down the toilet.
And then he was calling me from the stall saying, "What do I do about it?"
And so you had to call building maintenance to fish him out, which I'm sure they were super happy to do.
Gave him the nickname Flush for several years.
And I don't think I'll ever forget that.
So, bet you can't top a story like that. Definitely unlucky.
Growing up when I was a kid, living with Steve and Brian and Carol, and back then it was kind of us three. We did everything together, so that Steve was kind of like an older brother to me. We were cousins, but lived together, and it's just kind of somebody that looked up to for a while, and kind of bossed us around and took care of us a little bit. He always had a younger brother who was bigger. So I was kind of the normal sized, I think. I like to think anyway, younger brother. But I don't have any brothers myself. So I think Steve, and really shout out to Brian as well. Steve and Brian were kind of my brothers growing up. All kinds of things. Christmas Eves at Grandma Johnson's house to both in Long Beach and in Riverside.
And then I always remember just going up to Riverside and to going to your mom's, but you would always be there and you'd always play with us and you would always involve us in everything that you were doing. So it was really fun to go there because you were so much older than us, but we still you know, got to see you all the time.
Maybe some bad parenting choices by our parents and letting us bomb the mountain coming home from Big Bear that sustained Steve, I believe, some still existing scars.
After Steve and Beth got married, my son Daniel went off to boot camp in the Army. And he went far back east, some God-forbidden place, I don't know, Kentucky I think it was, some rural place. And so we wanted to send him a family photo to show Daniel, you know, that we still loved him and remembered him, and also that he could show the photo to his Kentucky buddies in boot camp to show them what a sophisticated California family he came from. So anyway, Steve was willing, who has a great sense of humor, was willing to pose in this family photo to prove that he has a sense of humor. And here's the family photo that we sent to Daniel in boot camp of his sophisticated California family. That's Steve on the left. As Beth noted, he does look great in overalls.
All I can say is, Steve, I feel like you're dying when I'm talking to you in a video. Or like I'm giving a eulogy.
So I'm supposed to say something embarrassing. And, you know, I thought about it. I don't think I have anything embarrassing about you, Steve. Nothing whatsoever. So, what I can say is, you and Brian and your mom, you lived in Westminster, California. You lived in a little apartment. I think it was a 2-bedroom apartment. And so you were living there, and we would come over and help out and visit you once in a while when we could or when you needed it. And now I could tell at an early age you were going to be a detective. And this is how I know. There was one incident. Now, keep in mind, on a 2nd-story apartment, there was a balcony out of the bedroom. No stairs or anything. One day, you had called our house, and you said there was a wild pig out there. Now, I'd like to see the artist's rendering of that pig, because I went over there, and said pig had vacated the area when I got there. But you were sure it was a wild pig on top of a balcony with the only way in was your bedroom. And so I knew right away you were going to be a detective. Another story is you had gone out on a date and you went down to Naples. Naples is a nice place to take a date. You go walking around. It's really nice. And I don't know how long you were down there. You had called up and you had lost your car. So went down there, picked you up, and we drove around Naples. In the middle of the night, we drove around for probably an hour and a half, 2 hours, looking for your car. Now, Naples isn't that big, but with your super sleuth capabilities, we finally found that car. And we probably drove by it 2 or 3 times before we found it, but nonetheless, spot on detective, yes sirree.
And if Steve was a spirit animal, what animal would he be and why? I think Steve will forever have that aquatic bone in his body. So I'm going to go with something aquatic, maybe dolphin, fish, shark, something like that. Because I think Steve really liked playing water polo, he liked being in the water, and he really enjoyed being dominant when he was there.
Obviously, you are a polar bear because you love the cold weather, love the snow, you love frolicking in the water, you're intelligent, you're quiet, and you like to stretch out and rest a bit.
Me is, what do you miss, Steve, in California other than the people that you love? And I am absolutely positive that the best thing you miss is the beach, that the most thing you miss is the beach. And you are a really good a really good boogie boarder, and you love the ocean, and you're really good in the waves. So I know that you would I am very sure that you probably miss the ocean.
I remember coming down to go to the beach. We would stop at their house, pick up Steve and Brent and Brian, and then we'd head down to the beach. But Steve was always a good athlete. He could play with us, whatever it is we were playing. But he's a good swimmer, and he was throughout his younger years as well as high school. And that was always an impressive thing that he could do. That he could get out there and swim. I did okay, but he was always much better.
What would be your best day for you? I'll show you. Hanging out there on the beach, in the pool. That's the best day for Steve, as is for me. Hanging out on the beach and the pool and in the water. And maybe get the waves over there. There you go.
The canoe trip we took down the Colorado River. We were getting the tacos ready for dinner, and we found everything except for the meat. So we had to have vegetarian tacos on the river. Great meal, just a little short on the meat.
Hey Steve, it's your dad. Wishing you a happy 40th birthday from the scene of your greatest kayaking victory. And if you remember, when you came out with me, you were in my lollygagger, and we went for a nice long paddle. And we got here to the mouth of Newport Harbor, where you never know what's going to go on. Boat wakes, waves hitting and bouncing off the rocks or the wind, and one paddle stroke wrong and you were over. And I remember you saying how tippy the boat was when you got in, but we really did well. And then we got here, and you know, it could happen to anybody. In the kayak world, we call that carnage, and it's something you're supposed to be proud of. So if you remember, we sat there, and it was funny because as we sat there and just getting ready to get you back in the boat, one of my friends paddled by and offered to help, and we go, no, we can handle it. And I remember you were very calm, never seemed to get too upset about it, but this can be a very nasty area. There's boats coming in and out all the time, and when the waves hit this particular side of the jetty, this is where I like to catch waves, and you never know when it's going to be trouble. So I emptied your boat and held it while you crawled back in, and everything was hunky-dory. But I always think of it as kind of like a life lesson, because carnage is good. It's like, if you don't have carnage, it means you've never tested your boundaries. So in anything in life, you've got to get to the point where you get knocked over and deal with it and overcome and get back in the boat. And certainly things like that are important to somebody who's works in law enforcement and dealing with all those kind of people and everything. And so I hope you remember that as a good memory, and we love you, and happy birthday.
Is, if you weren't a cop, what would you be doing? I don't know. Maybe be in sales, since you're so good with people. You love being around so many people. I think you'd be in sales.
When we were doing Grandma's roof, we were shooting over in Miraloma. We were sheeting the roof off, and we were up there. We were getting towards the end of it, and you were sitting down on a bucket up there. And Dave came over and explained to you that as long as Paul and Dave were up and working, that Steve was not to be sitting down. And I always liked that. That was a good story. I enjoyed that. I also remember when you used to come out to when I had the shop, and you'd come out there and help me once in a while. And I always appreciated you coming out there and helping me out, because I needed you there. I don't know if I paid you what it was worth or not to you, but I certainly appreciate you coming out there and playing in my oil pit for me and taking care of business.
40. I can't believe it. But I look at all you've accomplished in your life. Look at all you have. You have a beautiful family. You have a great job. You're Mr. Detective. You're an amazing guy. One of the things I love about you, Steve, and always have, is your great sense of humor. You have a great sense of humor. You're hilarious. You've always got some little thing to say about everything, and you're just too funny.
I am very proud to know you, to know the man that you have become, to know the loving father and husband that you are.
You and Brian burning things up in the a horse shed in the backyard, and I came home, your eyebrows were singed and your hair was singed and you had holes in your t-shirts because you were playing with the thing, and you just said, well, Brian told me we should just do that.
But you'd like let us clean your room, but we got to keep the money that we found, and so I always remember that because I always wanted to go in your room because any money that I found I got to keep.
Is that you always used to have me clean your room, but I got to keep all the change that I found. Happy birthday, and I hope you have a good day.
You called in Air 1 K9s for a kid behind Moore Middle School, spray painting. I didn't realize that you had the phone number, direct phone number to Air 1. All I remember is going to the call and seeing a helicopter hovering overhead with a spotlight beaming down on the school. As it turns out, it's just a kid doing a little spray painting, but you know, you got a direct line to Air 1, I guess you got to use it.
What was your first memory of Steve?
The first memory that I have of Steve was like in the interview for Be Your Au Pair. I remember that I was so scared, and in the profile said that he's like I think that in the profile said that he's a police. That he always was really serious. Then when he talked to me, I didn't understand, and I was like, oh no, he will think that I am so stupid, and he didn't, like, he won't want me in his family. Then it was kind of funny because every time that he talked, I look at Beth and say like, what? And she was like trying to explain me, and I was like, okay, but later, like, that happened a lot of times. Then I was like, I know.
So I guess I'll tell you, the first time I met Steve was on a traffic stop when he was violating someone's rights. So that was my first time I met Steve, and I've always looked up to him ever since.
Well, my first impression of Steve was, before I'd ever met him, I went to Grandma Trudy's for Christmas, and everybody was there but Beth, and they said, well, Beth was over at Steve's house for Christmas, and I knew at that moment that Beth and Steve were going to get married. And when I asked Dana about Steve, he said, Steve has loved Beth for a long time, so I knew right then they were meant to be together.
My favorite picture was the one where your mom had you all bundled up in a blanket, and your dad had taken a picture, and your mom had squeezed your little cheeks together, and I thought that was the most precious picture. And that's how I've always thought of you, as just being a very precious person to have in our lives.
Say that I've always admired your ability to just stay true to yourself, to go out there and do the job even when people made fun of you, or you maybe were pulled into the penalty box once or twice, but you didn't let that deter you. You always went out and you did your thing, and I've always admired that about you. So thank you for teaching me to be true to myself, and also to always work in the gray area.
Another quality about Steve is that he's a hero. There's lots of examples of this, but a couple that come to mind are that one time he found an autistic boy who was walking down the street just looking lost, and Steve found him and brought him back to his father. Another example is that he helped shoot a bank robber. And then another one is that he took down this huge gang that was doing identity theft and auto theft, and he was pretty much in charge of the entire thing and bringing it all down. Okay, one quality that describes Steve is that he is unbending on his principles. Sometimes it is just absolutely has to be the way it is. For example, when we were dating and we were talking about getting married, he had said that if we ever have a daughter, she will never, over his dead body, wear a bikini. That's it. Marry me or not, she will never wear a bikini.
One thing I can say that I really admire about you, don't take guff from anybody. I remember you were going through college and you're a water polo ref, and you had no problem throwing those loudmouth parents off the pool deck if they didn't shut up. So kudos to you.
If Steve Sanders was a car,
I would probably say you would be a big Dodge Ram because you're kind of rough and strong on the outside, but it'd probably be a hybrid Dodge Ram because you're kind of a gentle giant and softy on the inside.
If I had to choose, I think I'd just choose a truck.
he would be a recovered stolen vehicle. There would be a meth pipe in the glove box that he found while he was looking for an insurance card, and he'd probably get written up for some violation of a non-existent law. That's the type of vehicle I think Steve would be.
You got a great life, and I wish I had your Lexus. That'd be great. So if, I know I didn't send you a present, but if you're giving presents away, I'll take the Lexus off your hands. And as long as you make the payments, we're all good.
Hey Steve, happy birthday. I just wanted to say how much we love and appreciate you in the ward. And more importantly, I wanted to say how much I look up to you. And that's not just because you're way taller than I am. I look up to you because of the way that you treat your sweet wife Beth and your wonderful children Cooper and Katie. When I go to your home and visit with you and visit with them, I get a real sense for how much they have tender love and adoration for you. And that speaks volumes to me. I think that the true measure of a man is how he treats and teaches and loves and cares for his wife and children. And you can tell how a man does that by the way that his wife and children look at him when they visit with him and love him. And I love to see your children snuggle in when you're sitting on the couch when we're having a visit. All these things are a testament to how they love and respect you and adore you.
Oh, hey Steve, it's me, Chef Davy, but you remember me as Big D. I hear it's your 40th birthday. I want you to have a great day. God bless you, and I'm very proud of you. And here's to 40 more.
Little did I know when I first met you that you'd become such a great friend and my everyday lunch buddy. I remember the first time I met you, you showed up late to roll call and had to buy pizza the next day for everybody, so thank you for that.
I also want to say a big thank you to you, because not only did you personally crack the city's overtime budget, you got me enough overtime to help pay off my entire house in one short year, so big ups to you for that.
Let's see, the nicest thing Steve has ever done for me is get me a ridiculous amount of overtime in investigations while tailing people at midnight that we never arrested. So, thanks, Steve. Also,
oh yeah, one more thing. So we're gonna work on your desk. It's a little bit messy from time to time, but that's okay, we'll fix that. I'm gonna make sure those blinds stay down as well so there's no sunlight coming in, just how we like it. Enjoy your 40th birthday, man. We'll see you on the next work day when you decide to come in at 8 o'clock, 8:15, 8:37, 9, whatever time you feel like coming in. Have a good one.
I noticed about Steve is that he likes pizza and brownies and cereal and meat and spaghetti. He also likes pancakes and eggs. Uncle Steve is that he's really funny. Because he's funny.
Which one are you going to answer?
That he went to the temple.
Is that the nicest thing he's ever done? Or your first memory?
Nicest thing he's ever done is go to the temple.
Thank you so much for being an awesome friend. I know I don't see you all the time or talk to you all the time, but I know I can always call and always get Steve's, expert opinion. And I've always cherished your advice and your rational thinking, even when I'm not so rational.
But one time, my husband David was in a terrible motorcycle accident. He was really broken up, and broken bones. And Steve called me up. I think he lived in in Colorado, and offered to come here and help me with my daughter, with Coral and Chantel, because I needed to be at the hospital with David all the time. So Steve, on his own dime, his own time, he gave me a week of his time. He came and he took care of everything for me in my home and took care of my girls. And we always talk about he was their bodyguard, because he always would he would always take them to school. He did everything for them. He'd always be there and he kept them safe. And I was just so grateful. I never had to worry about anything while he was here. But one funny thing that happened with that incident, at that time, was that David was released from the hospital while Steve was still here. And David was in a hospital bed, and the hospital bed was next to my bed. And David wanted to see if he could lay on a flat bed in our bed. So we needed to be able to figure out how to get David's body onto my bed. And so Steve came up with the idea, well, he's laying on a sheet, we'll just pull the sheet and pull him onto your bed. So here's this giant Steve, super strong, on top of my bed. His feet are all sinking in my bed, and he's trying to pull the sheet with David's limp body on it onto my bed. It was just so funny. And every time I think about it, I just think how funny Steve was. He was happy to do whatever he needed to do, and that's what he needed to do, was get David onto my bed. So he did that, and it was so funny, him pulling that sheet.
My dad, he's funny, sweet, he's kind, because he really, sometimes when mom says no dessert, dad just says to mom, yes, they can have dessert. On Friday, sometimes when he gets home, we say we don't have any TV, he lets us watch TV. We were going to the store, we were walking out, and then I said, Mommy, police truck, police truck. And then Mom said, I don't care, I just want to find my car. Kids, and a few hours later, kids, help me find my car. In like a few minutes or two, Mom looked at the police car and saying, is that Daddy? And then she didn't believe it, so we kept on looking. She said, kids, look on the right side of the car, that's where I usually park. It still wasn't there. So she went in to see if it was Daddy on the police car, and Dad was laughing his system out. And it's like, do you know where my car is? And she's like, and then he showed her, and then I got to ride in his car.
Mm-hmm. It's because Daddy moved my car.
Yeah.
He moved my car and then laughed at me.
Yes.
I have a lot of good memories of you, and you are always so sweet, and you're always so honest, and that, like when you were in high school, I never worried about you. I knew you would be safe, and you'd always tell me if something was going wrong, or if you needed my help or anything. You were just honest all the time, and I just appreciated you, because I never had to worry about you when I worked all that time. Sorry, it makes me want to cry. You turned out to be someone I can be very proud of.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Happy birthday, Steve! We love you!
Go.
Happy 40th birthday, Uncle Steve!
Haley,
Happy birthday!
say we love you.
We love you! We love you!
I love you, Daddy!
Love you, and then blow the kiss.
I love you so much. Rawr.
Doggone it. When I say 3 olives in my martini, I mean it.
And
Anyway, so let's see. Let's
Here I am on video.
And I think it's just
I'd get.
and then let's see. Then another
And
Going to you guys' place in Riverside with all the random chickens and
from your crazy Aunt Molly.
I think another question was, if Steve was a celebrity, who would he be? And I'd have to say probably a young Brad Pitt, just given the rock hard abs and luscious hair.
What celebrity do you remind me of? But I would say Tony Soprano.
No offense, Steve, so don't take it like that. But I'm gonna go.
So I wanted to think of something funny and
it goes like. And then
pretty much my whole life, so
Something to that effect. I might be way wrong, but anyway, that's my guess. Popular rock music, maybe.
A close second would be
you and Brian definitely scared the crap out of me because you were
Taylor Swift.
Say I'm just like Daddy.
black and white and then and black and there's white.
Yep. There you go.
He's awesome and passed down that trait to me, obviously.
So here comes a thief and he's sneaking up on the car and it's really, really dark and he thinks...
Beth first asked me to do this video, and then she had to remind me again because I'm not very good at remembering.
Project that Beth put together.
Beth asked me to tell. Beth had asked if.
Oh, Beth asked me.
Happy 40th birthday.
So I hope you have a happy birthday, and I love you a lot, and hope to see you soon.
Steve, we love you. Happy birthday.